This is Akashavani Mangalore. Yuvavani. Dear friends, welcome to today's English Yuvavani program. In today's program, there are two talks for you. Participation of urban youth population in the electoral process by Tellar Sharanya Nayak Karkala and Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, a degenerative disease by Pratham Shetty. In the beginning, it is Tellar Sharanya Nayak Karkala with her speech on the topic Participation of Urban Youth Population in the Electoral Process.
Prajasuke sukam radnyah prajanam cha hite hitam na atma priyam priyam radnyah prajanam tu priyam priyam. The happiness of the king should be in the happiness of the people. He should work in the interest of the people. The choice of the people should be his choice. The king should not have any selfishness of his own. The shloka urges that a good governance aims towards betterment of the people, and this cannot take place without the government being accountable to the people. So, how can we form a strong democratic government? How is the entire process completed governing the rules and regulations without any fraud and contempt? As Abraham Lincoln says, a ballot is stronger than the bullet. Hence, the solution is elections. Elections gives the opportunity to every adult citizen of the country to choose his or her representative. This is what makes the country truly democratic, as the essence of the democracy lies in equality. Public opinion and will can be expressed through elections. They are essential for creating a vibrant, progressive, and aware society. Out here, the right to vote is given to every adult citizen of the country, irrespective of his or her color, race, religion, and gender. Free and fair elections engage citizens as stakeholders in the social and economic progress of the country. Elections encourages political leaders to work towards the aspirations of the citizens. Barack Obama had said that the youth are the future of the nation, and it is their responsibility to actively participate in politics. If young are so crucial, then why the trend in recent years drifts them away from participating in the political process? What steps can be taken to make improvements when we are specifically gearing up for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections? When young people are disengaged or disfranchised from political process, a significant portion of the population has little or no influence in decisions that affects the group members' lives. Having obstacles to participating in formal, institutionalized political process can make young people rapidly feel disempowered. Many tend to believe that their voices are not going to be heard, or that they will not be taken seriously even if they are heard. The problems become circular as politicians may lose interest in responding to the aspirations of the young people if they cannot even win their votes. This, in turn, leads to young people being increasingly excluded from taking part in decision making or in debates about key socio-economic and political issues, despite their sensitivity to the demands for social equity and justice, environmental protection, and cultural diversity. For the youth of this country, the prime issues still remain to be unemployment, career, education. For young females, it's about their safety, harassment, and abuse. Corruption scandals, inadequate representation, and gerontocracy is seen as a driving factor to disconnect the young voters with democratic institutions, with the average age of elected representatives in the 17th Lok Sabha being 56.7 years. One more problem, which is quite evident in today's date, would be that the youths are more influenced and less informed. They wholly depend upon content creators, YouTubers, politicians, or entrepreneurs who reach them passively through internet, and whatever algorithms they are fed is what they pursue to be their view, instead of trying to seek information on their own and rely upon their active decision making. When 10.5 crore voters exercised their franchise in India's first Lok Sabha elections in 1952, only 17% of them were residing in towns. India then lived in its villages, as Mahatma Gandhi famously said. Much has changed since then. Today, every third person in the country is an urban dweller. Among the 543 Lok Sabha seats, 100 seats have an urban population of more than 50% according to 2011 census. In another 31 seats, 40 to 49% of the voters reside in the urban areas. Political strategies are mindful of these demographies and grapple with navigating the delicate urban-rural divide in their messaging. As urban constituencies have risen in importance, parties deploy a variety of strategies to appeal the city dwellers among India's 100 crore electors headed to polling booths this summer. With general elections just a few months away, political commentators have begun predicting the plausible electoral outcomes, and all parties have started to formulate electoral strategies to reach out to their respective vote bases. However, one piece puzzle that has remained largely ominous in this process is the urban voter. India is rapidly urbanizing, and it is expected that by 2030, nearly 50% of the population will be residing in the urban areas. The average voter turnout in India's 21 fully urban constituencies has been markedly below the national voter turnout over the last 5 general elections, barring a few exceptions. While analyzing the problem of low voter turnout in urban constituencies, the assumption was that the problem was limited to large metropolises and not necessarily seen in small and medium sized towns. However, from 1989 onwards within states, there has been negative relationship between urbanization and turnout in small and medium sized towns as well. Hence, it is pertinent to address the issue in metropolitan cities at the earliest and implement similar solutions in a phased manner in small and medium towns. According to the design and innovation consultancy firm IDEO, voting behavior is influenced by three major factors: convenience, community, and impact. A promising measure that eases convenience but has yet to receive attention is automatic voter registration (AVR). There has been implementation of automatic voter registration where, for example, when a citizen will be registering for the driving license, he or she will be automatically enrolled in their respective constituencies. This data can be shared with the Election Commission through the creation of a common database or existing databases being seamlessly integrated using the unique identification number. AVR also addresses the lower voter turnout amongst the 18 to 19 age group. The Election Commission's analysis of the 2014 general elections in Maharashtra, where 9 of the 21 most urban constituencies are located, revealed a 61.68% gap in the cohort as compared to the total projected census population in this age cohort. That is, for every 100 citizens in the 18 to 19 age group, only 32 exercise their right to vote. AVR will also improve voter list accuracy, leading to lower omission errors, a common complaint in urban constituencies. While voter registration does not necessarily translate into voter participation, there are strong reasons to believe that increased voter registration and improved voter list accuracy leads to marked improvement in voter turnout. Registered voters are more likely to be contacted by political parties, and research shows that if an individual is contacted before an election, they are more likely to vote. In short, AVR can serve as a nudge to encourage electoral participation in the democratic process. We have 900 million voters in India, out of which 400 million voters are young, and 65% of India's population is below the age of 65 years. But sadly, this population is not coming out to vote. In 2009, the Election Commission of India established the Systematic Education and Electoral Participation Program, that is SWEEP, aimed engaging and educating voters due to gaps and stagnation in voter registration and voter turnout. The voter turnout increased from 58.2% in 2009 to 66.4% in 2014 due to sweep and political factors. However, the 2019 election saw a stagnation in voter turnout of around 67.4%, despite a 9.3% growth in electoral size. The ECI identifies that the youth, especially those from urban areas, are less interested in the elections. This is a possible factor despite the marginal year on year increasing voter turnouts, thus becoming a rising concern that requires a collaborative effort. Multiple studies suggest that the rising lack of trust in political institutions in the 21st century is very common. The ECI has also recorded migration as rising concern regarding lower voter turnouts. Around 35% of the Indian population are migrants, mostly internal. A significant share of this, the youth, are unable to vote as they reside in cities where they haven't re-registered to vote. For example, in the recently concluded Karnataka elections of 2023, 18 to 19-year-olds had the lowest elector population ratio, where only 36.7% registered themselves to vote. In fact, as age increased, the elector population ratio increased too, signifying a lesser coverage of the electorate within the youth population. In the 2019 elections, out of the total 90 crore voters, over 4.5 crore voters were eligible voters in the age group of 18 to 19 years, of whom less than a third actually voted. Figures like these therefore call for action for continuous new voter registrations among the youth, which includes creating awareness around the registration process at the very age of 17 itself through self-registration mode of enrollment could be improvised. The Indian youth have been visible in the political movements like India Against Corruption movement, Nirbhaya case, etc. Many young leaders spearhead the election campaigns and have contributed to the reshaping of Indian politics. But this doesn't necessarily mean that the youth is in overall numbers participating more in politics and elections. Translating this power of the youth into the power of the vote requires a multi-pronged, collaborative, and targeted approach. To make a difference in the longer term, it is essential that young people are engaged in formal political processes and have a say in formulating today's and tomorrow's politics. Inclusive political participation is not only a fundamental political and democratic right, but is also crucial to building stable and peaceful societies and developing policies that respond to the needs of younger generation. Following steps can be undertaken, such as youth voters and officials should be extensively educated to provide a voting experience similar to the existing process and familiarize them with voting rights. Boosting voter registration calls by collaborating with colleges and youth organizations such as NYKS, RGNIYD, NSS, and other NGOs to simplify the voting processes. Introduction to Remote Electric Voting Machine (RVM) has the potential to address the long-standing issue of migration. Prevalent platforms like WhatsApp and Instagram can be instead used to achieve deeper penetration within the youth, making suitable number of well-located voting stations with extended hours and educating the youths through competitions like quizzes, elocution and essays, debates, poster making, etc., empowering the young leaders to attract the youth. India is the most populous country in the world, with 50% of its population below the age of 25. However, we are characterized with young country with old leaders. Youths must take initiative to participate in the nation's development trajectory, as their active contributions can bring new spirit and life to the India's democracy. This way, the issues related to education, employment, empowering youth, technological developments, health and social sector, and many others can be addressed in the best way possible. Hence, government and policy makers must chart ways to engage the youth in the electoral process. It is important to remember that the only sustainable way to both increase voter turnout and eliminate socio-economic biases in the voting population is to increase the engagement of the broader public with the political world. India must take advantage of its unique demographic dividend by ensuring that India's standing as a functional, vibrant representative and syncretic democracy for ensuring equal opportunities for the youth holds importance not only in domestic affairs but also in international platforms. As Madan Mohan Malviya says, the Indian youth needs to be empowered and it can be done only through good education and vocational training. Vande Matram.
Participation of urban youth population in the electoral process. That was the talk delivered by Tellar Sharanya Nayak Karkala. Continuing the program, now Pratham Shetty will speak on the theme Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, a degenerative disease.
ALS, often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a neurodegenerative disorder that strikes at the very core of our nervous system, leading to progressive muscle weakness and ultimately paralysis. To understand the biology of ALS is to embark on a journey through the intricate workings of our nervous system and the intricate dance of cellular processes that go wrong in this challenging condition. First, let's talk about the nervous system and the motor neurons. At the heart of ALS is the nervous system, our body's complex communication network that facilitates the transmission of signals between the brain and the muscles. Central to this system are motor neurons, the nerve cells responsible for transmitting signals that control voluntary muscle movements. At its core, ALS primarily affects motor neurons, those vital nerve cells responsible for transmitting signals from the brain to the muscles throughout the body. These neurons reside both in the brain's motor cortex and the spinal cord, forming a critical link in the intricate network of our nervous system. The precise etiology of ALS remains elusive, often characterized as a complex interplay between genetic and environmental factors. Approximately 5 to 10% of these cases are inherited, suggesting a genetic component that predisposes individuals to this condition. In ALS, motor neurons undergo progressive degeneration, leading to a cascade of events that compromise their ability to transmit signals effectively. One key pathological hallmark is the accumulation of misfolded proteins such as TDP43 within the affected neurons. This aberrant protein aggregation disrupts cellular processes and contributes to the formation of inclusions, impacting overall neuronal function. The symptomatic manifestations of ALS, characterized by progressive muscle weakness and atrophy, results from the loss of motor neurons. The disease typically begins in a localized region, but its relentless progression leads to widespread muscle involvement, impacting voluntary movement, and ultimately respiratory function is affected. As neurologists, our clinical acumen is critical in diagnosing ALS, recognizing its distinct features and distinguishing it from other neuromuscular disorders. Treatment for ALS remains a significant challenge, with the FDA-approved drug Riluzole offering only modest benefits. Ongoing research focuses on identifying novel therapeutic targets and exploring potential gene therapies also to intervene at the root of the ALS pathology. Collaborative efforts among neurologists, geneticists, worldwide are crucial for advancing our understanding and developing breakthrough treatments. The biology of ALS is a complex tapestry woven with genetic predispositions, environmental influences, protein misfolding, glial involvement, and also mitochondrial dysfunction. As future researchers, our commitment to unraveling these complexities is essential for providing better insights into this disease and ultimately improving the lives of people affected by ALS. In ALS, the tragedy unfolds as these motor neurons degenerate and die, disrupting the crucial link between brain and muscles. So now let's talk about the role of genetics. Genetics plays a significant role in the biology of ALS. While majority of cases are sporadic with no clear family history, approximately 10% of the cases have a genetic component. Mutations in specific genes have been identified as the contributing factors. For instance, mutations in the SOD1 or the FUS genes are associated with development of ALS. These genetic variations can disrupt cellular processes, leading to degeneration of motor neurons. One of the main causes of ALS is protein misfolding and aggregation within motor neurons. In particular, the misfolding of the SOD1 protein encoded by superoxide dismutase 1 gene. When these proteins misfold, they clump together, forming toxic aggregates that interfere with cellular functions. The presence of these protein aggregates continue to the degeneration of motor neurons and progression of ALS. In this intricate dance of neurotransmitters, glutamate takes the center stage. It is a key neurotransmitter involved in transmitting signals between the nerve cells. However, in ALS, an imbalance occurs, leading to excess glutamate in the synaptic spaces. This surplus glutamate becomes toxic to the motor neurons, a phenomenon called as excitotoxicity. This overstimulation of receptors by glutamate contributes to the damage and also death of neurons, accelerating the progression of this disease. Mitochondria, often referred to as the powerhouse of the cell, also plays a critical role in providing energy for cellular processes. In this condition, however, mitochondrial dysfunction becomes a disruptive force. Impaired energy production, increased oxidative stress, and compromised mitochondrial dynamics contribute to the degeneration of motor neurons. The delicate balance that mitochondria maintain within cells is disrupted, further fueling the progression of this disease. Our immune system, typically a defender against external threats, becomes entangled in this web of biology. Chronic inflammation in the CNS, or the central nervous system as we call it, is characterized by the activation of these immune cells, contributing to the neurodegenerative process. Microglia, the immune cells of the brain and the spinal cord, are activated and they release inflammatory molecules like histamine and serotonin, exacerbating the damage to these particular motor neurons. This intricate interplay between inflammation and neuron degeneration adds to another layer of complex biology of this particular disease. While genetics lay a foundation for ALS, environment factors may act as triggers or modifiers influencing the course of the disease. Exposure to certain toxics, traumatic injuries, and lifestyle factors may also contribute to the development or acceleration of this disease in genetically predisposed individuals. So there are up and coming therapeutic approaches to these particular diseases. The hope for effective treatment and a cure lies in cutting-edge research and innovative therapeutic approaches, targeting specific genetic mutations, regulating the homeostasis of proteins, modulating the glutamate levels, and addressing mitochondrial dysfunction, as I said before, are among the avenues explored in the quest for therapeutic breakthroughs. Advances in gene therapy RNA targeting strategies, and neuroprotective interventions offer a glimmer of hope in the pursuit of treatment that could slow, halt, or even reverse this progression of the disease. There's an urgent need for further research. While significant strides have been made in understanding its biology, much of it remains to be uncovered. The complexity of the disease demands a multidisciplinary approach, with researchers exploring the intersections of genetics, molecular biology, neuroscience, and immunology. Continued investment in research is crucial in unraveling the intricate mechanisms at play and translating these discoveries into tangible therapies. One of the most potent tools in fighting against ALS is awareness. Advocacy plays a pivotal role in mobilizing these resources, fostering research, and providing support for individuals and families affected by this disease. By raising awareness at a local, national, and international levels, we can cultivate a collective commitment to tackle ALS head on. Educating the public about ALS not only dispels the myths and misconceptions but also fosters empathy and understanding among the people. Initiatives such as the Ice Bucket Challenge, which have gained widespread attention on social media, exemplifies the power of grassroots efforts in generating awareness and financial support for ALS research. We must harness this momentum and channel it into sustained efforts that transcend these trends. While the quest for a cure is paramount, providing comprehensive care and support for individuals living with ALS is equally crucial. Multidisciplinary teams comprising of neurologists, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, and social workers also play a pivotal role in enhancing the quality of life of ALS patients. Furthermore, the emotional and psychological well-being of these patients should not be overlooked. Support groups, counseling services, and other community outreach programs contribute significantly to addressing the unique challenges faced by individuals and their families throughout the course of this disease. ALS does not recognize borders, and neither should our efforts to combat it. Global collaboration is essential to pooling resources, expertise, data to accelerate research, improve patient care. International partnerships can foster the exchange of ideas and promote standardization of diagnostic criteria. The World Health Organization and other national agencies play a crucial role in fostering international collaboration. By uniting our efforts, we can amplify the impact of research, advocacy, and support initiatives, bringing us closer to a world where ALS is no longer a threat to human well-being. As we stand at this critical juncture in the fight against ALS, I implore each and every one of you to consider the role you can play in making a difference, whether you are a healthcare professional, a researcher, or a policymaker, or a concerned citizen. Your contributions do matter. For supporting research, we must advocate for increased funding for ALS research, encourage collaboration between institutions, pharmaceutical companies, and government agencies to accelerate the development. Use your voice and influence to raise awareness about ALS, engage with local communities, schools, and workplace to dispel the myths and fostering understanding and garner support for individuals living with ALS and their families. Advocate for policy changes is also one of the crucial steps in helping ALS patients. Working with policymakers to advocate for policies that support the research, ensure access to quality healthcare, and promote inclusivity for individuals with disabilities. Be a voice for those who may not have the ability to advocate for themselves. We can join support networks by engaging with online or local ALS support networks. These communities provide a platform for sharing experiences, knowledge, and emotional support, fostering a sense of belonging for individuals and families affected by ALS. ALS is a formidable adversary that requires our collective resolve, compassion, and action. By standing together, we can empower researchers, healthcare professionals, and advocates to make significant strides in understanding, treating, and ultimately curing ALS. Let us commit ourselves to a future where the devastating impact of ALS is a thing of the past, a future where individuals can live their lives free from the shadow of this relentless disease.
You have just heard Pratham Shetty speaking on the topic Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, a degenerative disease. This is today's English Yuvavani program. See you next time. Thank you.